Hey, here's a quick heads up on this latest little rendition. Now, it's not a 5-minute quickie, but it's not a longer one. It's only about 12 minutes. But it all started from something that went wrong and has come in, he's changed his mind. And I think he's come up with something which is, might prove to be really beneficial. It's certainly, if you follow what he's thinking, then you could be doing some real wonderful things right now. Interested? Have a listen.
Personal development, unplugged.
Okay, so welcome back to the PDU, Personal Development Unplugged podcast with me, Paul Clough. And a few minutes ago, I began recording this podcast, and it was all about preparing for your own death. What? Absolutely. And I used to think about this a little bit and think I might be testing fate, pushing it to its limits by, making out a will and all that stuff. And the more I started to talk about this, I thought to myself, oh, crikey, Paul, this is supposed to be personal development, and I'm now telling you to make a will. And yeah, you should make a will. You should put your affairs in order. You put all the lists and letters together. And if you even like my dad, he even put some music on a CD for me, bless him. But hey, I just couldn't keep talking about it. And the reason I couldn't keep talking about it wasn't because I'm afraid of dying, but I just thought, this is such a technical thing and I don't want to do that process. But then I thought to myself, how can I use this? Because we've had this thing about preparing for failure. But I thought, instead of preparing for death, which you can do in 10 minutes, you can. Get your will, put your affairs in orders, as I said, paperwork, all in a box, envelope with a name on, boom, job done, you're away. But what are the other things I've been thinking about? Well, how can you use this? And you could use this just to get it out of the way, and then more importantly, do something better, which is things like bucket lists. Now, bucket lists are always seen, I had one saying, I had a bucket list of 100 things I want to do before I die. And this guy was on like 98. And I thought, bugger, he's only got 2 things before he dies. So I don't think you should prepare a bucket list with a number on, or certainly before you die. But what I do think is you should put things out there that you want to do. And like goals in the future, start thinking of what they may feel like or how you'd like to feel. We're getting into that feeling of the wish fulfilled again. So maybe a bucket list for a long time. But I know of some people do like a bucket list for the year. So they know there's going to be another year, but out of all the things I want to do, these are the things I really want to do this year. Now, that's great, but that's still pretty random, isn't it? Are we still leaving it up to the laps of the gods for, when the time is right? And I think you ought to schedule a few. Schedule a few, certainly from in a month. So you might say, well, that is going to definitely happen in July. This one's going to happen in October. So you're going to work for them. And you're going to work towards them. And the thing is, when you know that, here's the thing. It's not only the feeling you'll get when you're doing that thing, it's that feeling of preparing to do the things that's going to give you such a good feeling. And that's brilliant. And then when you've done it and you've got such a good feeling, you've got that inner sense of, if I can do this, I can do anything. Or the next thing I prepare for myself is going to be bigger. It's going to be better. It's going to be more intense. I'm going to share it with people. And if you even get worried about it, you can use that preparing for failure. What if anything was to change this feeling, how can I get it back again? So really thinking of these bucket lists in certainly in months and maybe even in your week. What would be if you sat down on a Sunday, say, and you prepared your week? Okay, you're going to have these various meetings or whatever, maybe. You're going to the gym, you're doing this and that. But maybe you just said, my goal for this week, one thing in my mini bucket list is to go to the cinema, to see something, or to go and meet somebody, a friend. And and I've got to arrange that as well, but because they don't know about it yet. But if I can meet them on, say, Thursday, that's what I'm going to go for. And you schedule it. So now you're scheduling in mini bucket lists into your week. And now you get that good feeling of preparing in this week, not just for October or June or July, actually this next 7 days. And the more you do this, the more I think, like this serendipity coincidence of making your own luck, you'll start to have more things happen to you in that week, or your ideas will suddenly become so much more creative. You'll begin to think of things for the following week, the week after that would really float your boat even more. So from that, weird thing that I had happening in my little head about preparing for death, it's actually been flipped over. Preparing to live your life to the full. Because you start sitting down thinking, what could be my bucket list for this week? Or in the beginning of a month, so you're looking for the whole of the month ahead, and you want to get a few things, scheduled in. What would you schedule in? The big one in the month, and then the 4 little ones in that period as well, in the weeks. We might be getting onto something. And then I thought to myself, this isn't just a holiday list now. You're actually preparing an adventure list. You're preparing an adventure list for every week, every month, and the whole of the year, knowing that the better you get at this, the next month, the next week, the next year is going to be even better. And you're going to become so interesting because you're going to be dynamic. You're going to be interesting to talk to. You're going to be interesting to listen to. It's a win-win. And then I thought to myself, maybe how could you help others with this? And just by sharing an example. And it's a type of thing that I guess we do when we're working in therapy. Because one of the questions I always ask is, how do you want to feel? Where do you want to feel it? When do you want to feel that? How often do you want to feel it? What context? Can we put it into a different context? Where can we get this from and increase it? It's all the same thing. But now we're using it to spice up life. What would happen if you then just said, a mini little one in the day? That's a new thing. What would happen today? What's the one thing I could do, if only for 5 minutes, that would be so bloody brilliant, that would make my day? Back to Clint Eastwood again, aren't we? But I don't know. Maybe we're onto something here. I wonder what you could do. It's only a matter of getting a diary, a Jenny journal. I mean, I would suggest, as I do, is if you had like a page in the back of your Jenny journal, which was just for your random making notes for things for your weekly, daily, monthly, yearly bucket list. So as you're going through your day and you think of something, if you just think about it, you go, I'll remember that, and guess what happens? We actually normally say, I mustn't forget this. And what do? We forget it. Sometimes when we say, I will remember this, then we do. But if you just go, right, Jenny journal, woof, back page, write it down. And then when you're planning your week, your month, you can look at that page, have it open, and just notice, oh, there's something. Oh, actually, that makes me think about actually something different, something else I could do. And I can include other people maybe. I do think on some bucket lists or some of those items, it's great to have them just for you, so you can really just experience it just for you. But there are things for other people as well. How would that make a date night if you really thought about it in that way? What one thing on this little creative bucket list in my mind could I prepare for a date night? Man, you'd go down a storm, wouldn't you? Absolutely. There you go. So from what I originally was going to talk about, and I actually recorded for a few minutes and then just deleted it, has changed in my mind to something that I think could be really interesting. So take a little bit of deep time to think about this maybe, and just open your mind to any possibility. And I think what you'll find is as you're going through your day, you'll notice things in newspapers, adverts on your phone or what have you, that will spark you into just thinking. I mean, I know there was a guy, and I think he was in England, was doing these mini weekend things that you just go and have an adventure. Friday night, Saturday, come back Sunday. It's amazing the difference, go into the countryside and stand in a stream. Now that seems really weird, doesn't it? standing in a stream. But it's so lovely as well to think about it. Being in fresh air, the cool water, obviously not in winter by the way, but being around. You'll have a towel, but just doing something you would never, ever, ever do unless you do it. So what could you think would be so extremely wonderful? Yeah, I'm going to leave that one. That's a wonderful question. What could I do today, next week, this week, next month, that would be extremely wonderful for me to make me feel good? There you go. That's something for your Jenny Journal and your deep thinking. Enjoy every heartbeat, please do. And I'm going to speak to you real soon. Okay? Bye-bye now.
And just before you go, I just want to say thank you for listening, but also, wouldn't it be nice if you had a friend that if they knew that you weren't feeling quite yourself, they recommended something like this if they felt it was something good for you. So if you have a friend that you feel could benefit from any of my podcasts here, please do share with everyone you can think of. That would be really nice, really nice. And if you like, you can go to iTunes and you can subscribe. There's a subscribe bit there, and you'll get these podcasts come onto your device as and when they come along. I'm doing about 2 episodes a week now, so you can have the 5-minute quickie and the longer podcast for a little bit more in-depth work. So please do that. And if you're feeling so kind, if you could put a lovely review in where it says review, because that's where reviews go. I said I'll make it so simple, and in simplicity there's genius. Yeah, please do. If you want to find out what I do, the other things I do, you can go to paulclough.co.uk. That's my website. And if you want to ask me a question, please email me, paul@paulclough.co.uk. Love to hear from you. We've got lots of things to do, and I just want to support you in creating your reality. Okay? So enjoy, have more happiness than you can stand, and shine so brightly and create that reality you love. Okay, now. Bye-bye now.
Personal development,
Unplugged.